We have some exciting news to begin the day with this time, and that is that we have crossed 5 million views here on our YouTube channel.
Woo!
Amazing. I found this out from the fine folks at vidIQ, who sent me a little certificate saying, congrats, you hit 5 million views.
Nice.
I'm really proud of that. So thanks so much to all of you for hanging out with us, for sharing your time with us, for sharing your love of film with us, and for being so engaged. So thank you. We got Poker Face Season 2 coming.
Hooray.
That'll be good. I'm pumped.
Yes, I'm psyched.
Because you can imagine it's just infinite possibilities of what we can do if every episode is like a different random job she works
Exactly.
and a different murder. Like, how many people can get killed randomly?
Well, at least one weekly, it would appear. The other cool thing about this show is that I think that the setup and the character are strong enough that they could very well wrap up the On the Run from Benjamin Bratt plot at the end of this season and do entirely other things. Like, even if she doesn't, like, kind of roam around the country getting paid under the table from week to week, taking little job to little job, maybe season 2 is her and the FBI guy,
Yes.
and maybe she sort of like goes to work for them for a while. Like, anything is possible. But yeah, the show has just been consistently exciting and innovative. As much as it is rooted in earlier TV shows, I think it's very cleverly structured. And so I'm thrilled to get more.
Oh, yeah. And she's just charming as hell. Somebody at some point, I'm sure, has done a supercut of her just saying bullshit. Right? She says it at least once in every episode. So that's got to be out there in the internet somewhere. Yeah, we are indeed recapping Poker Face on our Patreon. So if you've not already joined us there, it'd be great to see you. Yes, we have a new Marvel movie out this week, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is down to 47% on the tomato meter. It's not that terrible, you guys.
I don't think the response is necessarily about just this movie.
Okay.
I think that there's a certain level of franchise fatigue among some folks. And I think there is a sentiment out there in the world that since the big grand, capper of Infinity War, that it just hasn't, like, they haven't quite found footing that's as exciting, that they haven't been building to as cool of a thing. I would disagree. I think there's been some really great ones in there. I think that Shang-Chi has a lot of promise in going in directions. Eternals wasn't perfect, but I think there are some places to go with that one. So yeah, and I think now that we're really kind of getting into sort of the Kang saga, maybe that'll give people something a little more to kind of grab onto, rather than feeling like it's just sort of popping around from idea to idea that isn't necessarily related to each other.
And so much of the television I have found more satisfying than the films. Like, I loved Loki. You and I both loved Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And we'll always do. Yeah, WandaVision was great. So we'll always do those TV series on our Patreon. But yeah, I can see how people have, higher expectations as you go along, and it's impossible to meet those. And so the criticism is harsher because it's more of an emotional investment for folks in something like Marvel than in just a random movie that's out there. So yeah, we reviewed it earlier this week.
Oh, sorry. And the shows, I think, also kind of show you what's possible in a narrative, dramatic way that the movies just can't do in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe there's a sense of not getting that same richness of, a story being told and a character being, going through stuff from the films now that the TV versions are able to offer.
Well, if you're going to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, or if you have seen it already, let us know. Let us know what you think. I was kind of mixed on it. You liked it more than I did, Alonso, but like we're not 47%.
No.
We have some date changes on some movies. The Marvels has moved. It was supposed to come out in July, and now it's November 10th.
Yes.
And then Haunted Mansion was going to come out in mid-August, but it's gotten bumped up to late July. So
right. The idea for the Marvels, it's opening in the Wakanda Forever slot, basically, because that worked well for them. And I think from what I read, Disney wanted a little bit longer of kids being out of school for Haunted Mansion, which our friend Justin Simeon is directing.
Oh,
so of
cool.
course, I can't really review it, but I'm very excited that it's happening. And if anybody was going to be handed the keys to that house that didn't work the last time, I hope he finds a new way in that'll be fun. And
I hope he can,
awesome.
put his stamp on it for sure.
Yeah.
Party Down is back.
Yes.
Season 3 of Party Down. This is what, like 12 years after the show went off the air. Did you watch it when it was on before?
I caught up with it late. I don't think I was watching it as it unfolded, but I did eventually go back and watch the whole thing. And it's really great. It's a smart show. It's really funny. I don't think it's funny. We haven't cut the cord, but I don't know that I get STARZ, but
yeah, it's on STARZ.
I'll try and chase it down one way or another. Cause yeah, I'm a fan.
Maybe they can send us screeners.
Maybe.
We've had a request or two to recap Party Down.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
you'd have to go back and watch the first 2 seasons, I think.
I guess. So I guess everyone is back for the most part, except for Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah.
And wasn't Ben on an episode of Party Down?
He was. I think the season 1 finale was about the NFL. They were catering a party for somebody who was in the NFL draft, and Ben played one of like the on television sportscasters covering the event. He's
reporter number 2.
Exactly.
That's a very Ben thing to do, by the way. To have a little bit part on Party Down.
For sure.
That begins on February 24th. Streaming in a few days on Criterion is EO.
Yes.
A movie that we love around here. It was on my top 10 list.
Mine as well.
Good. It was on our LA Film Critics Awards. It got Best International Film and Best Cinematography. Just a stunningly gorgeous film. So if you have not seen it, please go find EO on Criterion. And then on March 3rd, Triangle of Sadness will begin streaming on Hulu. So if you want to catch up with that before the Oscars, that'll be available to you as well.
Yes, both films are nominated. So and certainly in the case of EO, didn't get the widest of U.S. releases. So if it didn't open near you, you now have this chance to see it on Criterion.
Yes. Are you sad that Ryan Seacrest is leaving Live with Kelly and Ryan?
I forgot he was on it, frankly. I've never watched that show. And part of my brain always thinks Regis and Kathy. No, Regis and what's-her-face. And no, what's-her-face and Seacrest. And now it's going to be Kelly and her husband, right?
Mark Consuelos, who has filled in several times on Live with Kelly. And that show's been on forever.
Yeah.
She has been hosting it for over 20 years.
Yep.
Ryan Seacrest did it for like 6 seasons. I don't know when he sleeps. He has so many jobs.
That is the joke. Yeah. He does not seem to say no to anything.
Right. Well, he is saying no to this. So I think he's going to do it through the spring, and then her husband is going to take over. Have you seen the Cocaine Bear video game?
I've seen that it exists, and I saw like a frame grab, but I have not played it. Have you dug into it?
Oh, I have. Oh, yes. And I let my kid play, even though there's a little box you got to check at the bottom that says, I promise I'm 18. I clicked on it. I will just say, the sound design is vivid.
It's super 8-bit, right?
It's super cheesy 8-bit, and it's so funny. It's like Pac-Man, essentially, but you go around eating people.
Okay.
And then you also have these bad guys who are trying to take the bags of money or cocaine or something. They're, you got to chase them before they steal your stuff. And
gotcha.
It's hours of fun. The Cocaine Bear video game is out there. We'll put a link to it for your enjoyment.
That's marketing.
Maybe not a thing you do at work. Maybe solitaire is safer. And then did you see the sad diagnosis for Bruce Willis?
I did. And, I think the quote from the family was, obviously this is tragic, but on the other hand, we at least appreciate having a more specific idea of what we're dealing with and understanding what he's going through. So yeah, that's a toughie.
Frontotemporal dementia is what it is called. Several folks tweeted like, this is what my father suffered from, and it's all downhill from here. Like it's not going to get any better for him. So it's very sad, but.
And by the way, I don't know if you saw this breaking news just moments before we started. Stella Stevens passed away from the original Nutty Professor with Jerry Lewis and the Poseidon Adventure. She was a glamorous but a very funny and talented star of the 50s, 60s, 70s. She had been grappling for a while with Alzheimer's, but I did have the good fortune in the early 2000s to host a Q&A with her after a screening of the Poseidon Adventure at the USA Film Festival in Dallas. And she was just very, had a great sense of humor about herself and the industry, and, you know, had sort of come up in a time where I'm sure it was very difficult to be a young and gorgeous woman, but, you know, she was a real sort of Hollywood survivor and had great stories. I believe she was from Hot Coffee, Mississippi, if memory serves. But yeah, she's been dealing with Alzheimer's for a while, and passed away just recently.
That is sad. And then we got to talk about Raquel Welch.
Yes. Speaking of people we lost this week.
Yes.
Legendary.
82 years old, legendary sex symbol. Alonso, what do you know about Raquel Welch?
She was, she kind of came up as a Fox contract player. Raquel Tejada was her birth name.
Raquel Tejada.
Joe Raquel Tejada.
Yes.
You know, and I think, yeah, was this sort of consummate sex symbol, you know, in the late 60s. In one year, she had 1 Million Years BC, which is the sort of famous fur bikini image that you know from Shawshank Redemption and elsewhere, and Fantastic Voyage, where she got to wear a bodysuit and be a tiny, tiny scientist. I'm a big fan of Myra Breckenridge, not a movie that she ever particularly liked, but I think it has aged in a way that's really interesting. And she's in The Last of Sheila, which is one of my favorite murder mysteries. But yeah, I think somebody who basically, like Stella Stevens, it's like, yes, I am gorgeous and I have this body, but you're going to take me seriously and you're not going to like just treat me as some idiot bimbo. And, you know, I think she really kind of carved out this place for herself between like Kansas City Bomber, and then, you know, on Broadway, she took over, I know for Julie Andrews and Victor Victoria, and I think also for Lauren Bacall and Woman of the Year. So like she was very versatile, very talented, and just had a lot to offer the world besides her sort of statuesque figure.
For sure, but I think she could use that and play with that image too. Like there's that Seinfeld episode she did where she beats up Elaine and Kramer, right? So she could use that formidable, intimidating presence for different ways, and just synonymous with like beauty and sex appeal for so many years. So rest in peace.